On this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq, Sons of Iraq members join new ranks and Baghdad soldiers are recognized for their efforts. These stories and more on today's FJI. Hello, I'm Petty Officer Matt Gleason. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. The Sons of Iraq, or SOI, is a volunteer force of Iraqi citizens dedicated to combating terrorism within their own country. In an effort to consolidate forces, many SOI members in Baghdad are given the chance to continue their service in military uniforms. Today marks a turning point in the neighborhood surrounding Joint Service Station Washash as former Sons of Iraq transfer officially into the Iraqi Army.
It's a good feeling when you serve your country during the current circumstances. All Iraqis are yearning to rid their country of the terrorism to restore security.
Although they'll soon be wearing new uniforms, the Sons of Iraq are no stranger to protecting this area. They've been doing it jointly with coalition forces for some time now.
We've been working with Sons of Iraq about half a tour, so about 6 months. It's been pretty well. You know, they're volunteer citizens. They're doing their job to clean up their community, so you know, I'd expect the same from any American. They get out there and they do the same thing as the Army with less equipment and sometimes less experience.
The Sons of Iraq have worked alongside the Iraqi Army, providing a familiarity that makes the merger easier for new soldiers, as they've already established a working relationship with one another.
It will be great for the Sons to be merged because they have vital information about their own neighborhoods.
It was a really good step when the friendly forces decided to support and adopt Sawa troops in Iraq, especially in the western areas of the country.
I hope we will be unified and help our families by defeating terrorism across the country.
By consolidating its security forces, the Iraqi government is providing its patriots with an opportunity to continue their service to the country. The Iraqi government plans to absorb 20% of the Sons' 100,000 members into the Iraqi Army or police forces by the end of this year. Along with the Iraqi police working hard to secure the country, military members working in war operations undoubtedly work long hours too, day in and day out. The hard work is expected, but at the same time, it can be overlooked. Baghdad soldiers had a chance to hear thank you from their bosses during a ceremony that recognized their time on the job. Specialist Michael Cox has our story.
Soldiers in the 3rd Special Troops Battalion, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division had an award ceremony on Forward Operating Base War Eagle to recognize soldiers for their accomplishments while being deployed to Iraq.
First, we recognize soldiers because it's a part of keeping them in the fight. It's so easy for us to tell them when things are not going well. We have to have a comprehensive and collective effort in order to identify when they're doing very well, especially when we want to do the formation so their peers can see them being recognized in front of them for the good work that the soldiers are doing inside the fight.
The 3rd STB soldiers are spread out throughout the Stryker Brigade's operational environment, assigned to other battalions in the brigade, as well as to provide support for multinational division Baghdad forces.
I go out on the battlefield and rotate all the time out to, because our soldiers I count all the time. I always like to say that they're out at 14 different locations. And every time I go out to rotate out to check on their welfare, I always get a lot of appreciation from the maneuver battalions that our soldiers are attached to.
The award ceremony is a way to bring the 3rd Special Troops Battalion team together so that the soldiers and their peers can recognize and understand the efforts and the difference their missions make during their deployment.
It's good that we were recognized for all the hard work and long hours we put in throughout Sadr City, because I know people have different opinions what everybody does, and it just felt good knowing that everybody knew what all we've accomplished throughout this deployment.
The 3rd Special Troops Battalion has an award ceremony once a month to recognize soldier efforts on the battlefield. Specialist Michael Cox, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division Public Affairs Office, Baghdad, Iraq.
Coming up, coalition forces bring new ways of farming to Iraqi farmers.
Here's your raid report. Information from a Sons of Iraq member led U.S. soldiers to a cache north of Baghdad. The munitions included a mortar round, 6 projectiles, IEDs, blasting caps, 4 blocks of Russian-manufactured TNT, and other bomb-making material. U.S. soldiers detained 6 suspected criminals in Baghdad's Rashid district. 5 of the detainees are suspected special groups criminals. An Iraqi citizen reported the whereabouts of a weapons cache to U.S. soldiers near the town of Salman Pak. They secured 60 high-explosive rounds, 35 mortars, and a mortar tube. Coalition forces detained 1 wanted man and 1 additional suspect during an operation in the Jazeera Desert. Intelligence reports suggest that the wanted man is believed to be the regional al-Qaeda in Iraq commander. And that's your raid report. I'm Petty Officer Andrew Krause.
Here are the latest Operation Iraqi Freedom headlines. During a visit to Baghdad's provincial leadership offices, Prime Minister Maliki said Iraq has launched massive reconstruction efforts across the country. He warned anyone who interferes with these efforts will be subject to criminal prosecution as terrorists. Iraq's Minister of Foreign Affairs said the U.S. has shown great flexibility in negotiations with Iraq on a proposed security agreement. He also said if there is no final agreement, Iraq will ask the UN to extend its authorizing mandate. As Iraq prepares to assume responsibility for 54,000 members of Baghdad area Sons of Iraq groups, uncertainty is leading some of the volunteers to fight with rivals for power and territory, according to the New York Times. As Iraqis have increasingly rejected al-Qaeda's indiscriminate violence, many of its operatives have been cut off from their networks and forced into hiding. Those are your headlines from around the region. I'm Airman First Class Shaylin Jordan.
Hi, I'm Mike Rowe. As the host of Dirty Jobs, I get shot every day by a cameraman. Things are a little different for you guys. Remember, survival and safety go hand in hand. When you're riding around in one of these, always wear your safety belt, always wear your helmet, always wear your IBA, and always secure your load, no matter what you're hauling. Is there an ocean around here? Knowledge is power. Own the edge.
Agriculture is a main point of employment for Iraq, and many farmers have struggled this year with problems ranging from drought to getting supplied with seeds for their field. With the lack of water hindering production, specialist Sam Conrad explains how coalition forces are helping with technology that's new to the Iraqi farmers called drip irrigation.
Iraqi government leaders and local farmers met to discuss new programs and technologies being implemented in the Madain-Kata. The discussion covered new technologies such as drip irrigation. The efficient use of water is key to farming in Iraq, and at a cost of about $3,000, drip irrigation can transform previously unproductive ground.
Drip irrigation allows you to use minimum amount of water to raise crops because you're not applying the water to the foliar tissue or the plant itself or saturating the entire field. But the main benefit is they're in control essentially of their own productivity because they're not depending on the infrastructure to provide that water in the canal. It's coming right there off of their property from a shallow well.
Programs like drip irrigation are vital to Iraq's future by making Iraqi farmers more self-sufficient. Currently, Iraq must import most of its vegetables, but this situation creates a great opportunity to rebuild farming in the Madain-Kata and create jobs.
Agriculture, as you know, is the foundation of employment for our area of operation. According to the Kaimacom, about close to 80% of the work, the employment here in this Kadal used to be related to agriculture, either directly or indirectly in agricultural jobs. So it's important, it's very critical for us to get the farming industry back up and running.
Farmers can receive low-interest loans from the Ministry of Agriculture to install the systems. Reporting the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 1st Armored Division, from the Madain-Kata, I'm Specialist Sam Conrad.
And that wraps up this edition of our program. Be sure to log on to mnf-iraq.com, where you can learn all about the progress coalition forces are making throughout the country. If you have story ideas, we'd love to hear them. Just email us at fgi@iraq.centcom.mil. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.